welcome to this edition of Buncombe Live. I'm back here at the Animal Care Campus, which if you've watched the show ever before, you've seen me out here. It's an amazing, amazing place. Buncombe County Animal Shelter, Asheville Humane Adoption Facility, both on the same campus. It's awesome. I'm going to visit with Jennifer Brailer, who is the interim director of Asheville Humane Society, and she's going to tell us some things that everybody, every citizen of Buncombe County should know. If you're a pet owner, even if you don't like pets, you need to know this information. So stick with us. Here we go. I've come into the Asheville, and I always want to say the Buncombe County Animal Shelter. It is still the Buncombe County Animal Shelter, run by Asheville Humane Society.
Correct.
Right? Okay. And I'm here with Jennifer Brailer, who is the interim executive director of Asheville Humane Society. Okay. It's run by the county because I think by state law, counties have to have an animal shelter. Correct? But we have a beautiful facility here. If you haven't seen it, I hope most of you have, a shelter facility and then a separate, amazing adoption facility right next door. Animals continue to be an issue. I've worked for the county 30 years. It's been an issue my entire career here. When I started, though, however, that you will remember the place you came from, which was out on Lee's Creek Road,
yes,
in a tiny little shelter about not as big as where we're standing right now. Now, how many years have you been here in this facility?
We moved into this facility in September 2010, so we're just about 4 years.
I would have said 2. 4 years.
4 years.
Time flies.
It does.
Well, I have to say, it still looks fabulous. Y'all are really taking care of it. And when I walked in a while ago, I said, there's no smell. But it's really amazing. Just want to talk just for a second on the transition. Coming from that tiny shelter to this, how have you seen things change?
Well, we've seen drastic changes for the good, very positive changes. The number of lives we've been able to save through this public-private partnership and having the 2 separate facilities and the brand new campus has just been absolutely amazing and quite frankly a little overwhelming at times. I mean, we've just, in a positive way, it's just been, just so rewarding to, work through this partnership and just really, saving the lives of the animals that really need us and helping our citizens too.
Yeah, and being able to actually help and educate and treat so many more animals than you could ever have treated before.
Yeah, in the past, as you mentioned, the place that we came from out on Lee's Creek was very small. In fact, the roof was falling in. It had some pests around it. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a very old facility and very, very small. It was only 7,000 square feet. In this facility alone, the sheltering facility alone is 23,000 square feet. Wow. So now, granted, it's not all sheltering. We have Buncombe County Animal Service offices are in this building, as well as the Asheville Buncombe Tech 2-year veterinary certification program. They have all their lab work in this facility as well. And that's actually the second higher learning education center in a municipal shelter across the country. It's amazing.
Wow.
We're trendsetters here in Buncombe County, I got to tell you.
I've always said we do it first here, and we always do it best too.
Absolutely.
Now I want to talk about, because we're standing in where if I want to surrender an animal or if I've lost my animal, this is really where I'm going to come first.
Yes.
Here, to the shelter.
To the Buncombe County Animal Shelter.
And how quickly should I come here if I think I've lost my animal?
You want to act as fast as possible. So within the first 24 hours, if you have lost your pet, you should be here in this facility. If for some reason you can't, we can help you out. Just give us a call. You can go online and gain all the resources that you need as well.
But really don't hesitate. Don't think, oh, they'll come back, or oh, I don't want to bother them. No, this is what y'all are here for.
Yes, we are here to
help. The faster you get here, the faster you can get your animal back. Now, if animal control picks up an animal that is not ID tagged, and we're going to talk about that again in a little bit, or chipped or anything like that, they bring that animal here.
They do. So both Buncombe County Animal Services and the City of Asheville Animal Services bring all of the animals that they pick up in the community, whether it's through owner surrenders, stray animals, or even cruelty and neglect investigations. They bring the animals to us in the Asheville Humane Society under our contract care for them and provide all the sheltering, the medical care, and behavior enrichment that they need while they're here in our care.
Right. So if your animal is missing, and it's not chipped, even if it is, you need to come here because they could be holding your animal.
Absolutely. And if you have any photos, even if they're photos on a mobile phone, just bring that with you, and we can, try to match up what we can as far as getting the animals. We take a lot of reports. We have great success matching animals that never even come into the facility because we have a staff member that searches all the lost and found sites, newspapers, and so when she gets a report of a lost animal and she has read that there's a found animal and maybe they haven't brought them into the shelter or let us know, we make that connection for people as well.
Oh man, what a resource. I'm just saying, you got to see this. These are people here that love animals. But I want the folks at home to see kind of what happens and where the animals go when they come in here for whatever reason. So let's take a little walk down the hall here of this amazing facility and show you what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, we're in front of, tell me what we're in front of here.
Well, currently we're in front of our puppy and small dog wards. So stray animals and owner surrender puppies and small dogs actually come into this area.
It's also neat and clean. You just should come see this. So if I surrender an animal that I find on the side of the road, or if I just can't handle my pet anymore for whatever reason, an animal comes here to the shelter, what's the first thing the shelter does?
Well, if it's an owner surrender animal, the very first thing we do is talk with the individual and see, is there a way that we can give them the resources to maybe keep their animal and maintain it rather than having it turn in? Absolutely. We have a safety net program. We have a safety net coordinator that she works one-on-one doing consultations with citizens who may think that turning their animal into the shelter is the only option they have, but we often find it may be that they just have lost their job and they need a little extra help in a short period of time. So we have a pet food assistance program that helps out with that as well. And if somebody has an animal that just needs some medical attention that they can't afford, we can often work with them as well to help keep their animal with them. If, however, there's just not an option for them to keep their pet.
And sometimes that happens.
Absolutely, it does. We all have the best of intentions, and just occasionally different life things happen and you just can no longer keep your animals. So we're here to take in all Buncombe County animals that need us.
Putting your animal on the side of the road and just letting it go is not the option, because you guys are going to take that animal and you're not going to criticize or say, oh, you terrible person. You're going to take the animal.
Right. We pride ourselves on not being judgmental to our citizens. We are here first and foremost for the citizens and animals. We are to provide a service to them, and we feel that if we can educate and work with our citizens, we're really providing the best service possible. So if somebody is at the end of the rope and they can no longer keep their animal, when it enters the Buncombe County Animal Shelter, the first thing our staff does is gain as much information about the prior household, what behaviors the animal has had, if there is any medical information available at a vet clinic, just kind of the different quirks an animal may have, or some of the challenges, or some of the great things that they've enjoyed about the animal that they've had. Then we will process them through just a basic, quick health exam, make sure they have their vaccinations, seeing if they have microchips, and just working them through all the medical needs that they may have at that time. Our medical staff does a great job with that. They will work with them as far as if there's, say an animal has an ear infection. Our medical staff, we have a veterinarian who works with us, and so she will work with our medical technicians as well to get the animal the treatment they need.
So you check that animal out from head to toe and make sure that it's in good shape.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then what happens?
The animal, if it's an owner surrender, the animal will stay with us until we can work them through into the adoption center, or find another option for them. Like maybe, I don't know if you've heard, there's a lot of success in the Northeast with adoptions and just spay-neuter that they've done up there. So we have a transport program that we send a lot of our animals that come through here to the Northeast shelters that are just in high demand.
This would be hard for our folks at home to believe, because we live in, we have a lot of animals for adoption here. But there are places where people are waiting for adoptable animals.
There are, believe it or not, there really are. A lot of your Northeast, Connecticut, Maine, just different parts of the U.S. really have done a great job. And it's not that we haven't done a good job in the South. It's just, evolutionary. They've just kind of been ahead of the curve.
Right.
We have done fantastic things in this community.
And we're working toward that. We'll eventually be there one day.
Absolutely, we will. And we are really right on our way to get there.
Yeah. But until then, you do have a transport program where you take, so a surrendered animal might make it to that program.
Yes, and if not, our adoption center, the Asheville Humane Society Adoption Center, that's right next door to the Buncombe County Animal Shelter, we run animals through there through adoption. Last year we did over 3,000 adoptions.
Wow, 3,000 adoptions.
Over 3,000 adoptions just through our adoption center.
Okay, so now that's a surrendered animal. I want to touch quickly on what happens to animals that are found on the side of the road or that get picked up by animal control and come through the shelter.
Yeah, so if somebody finds a stray animal, an animal just walking on the side of the road, they definitely want to contact the Buncombe County Animal Shelter. They can do so, they can call us, they can also reach us through online. They can go right on our website at ashevillehumane.org and they can put in a lost or a found animal report. So if we're not open at that time, at least there's an immediate way that they can reach us. We also have access through email, through lost and found at ashevillehumane.org, and we can get email reports as well. Now, they can also bring the animal into us, and on our normal hours of operation, they can bring the animal into us, and when they do so, our staff quickly scans the animal first and foremost for any identification, such as a tag that has identification to an owner, or scanning them for a microchip.
Right.
And then also we take photos of the animals and post them on our website as well. So if somebody is, has to get to work and their boss just will not let them off, they can be sitting at work and looking over the found animals on our website. And because people, when they lose their animal, they're very worried and they're looking for them.
Yeah, but that's important because if somebody's out there looking for their animal, they need to, number one, check the shelter first.
Absolutely.
Absolutely first. But if you found an animal, you need to alert the shelter, because if that's where they look first,
Then
y'all
they're
need to
gonna
know
find them
that
first.
that's where the dog could be, or cat, or pig, or whatever.
Yes, we do get stray pigs, stray goats, you name
Any
it.
kind of animal that you've lost.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to hold that animal for how long?
So the state law is 3 business days. So we do, here in Buncombe County, we do follow the state law. So a minimum of 3 business days. If there's no form of identification for an owner for that animal, if we do have an animal that, say, has a microchip or it has a tag, or the person that brought it in knows it belongs to a house that's down the street for them and they can provide us that information, we will bump that 3 days to a 10-day automatic hold for that animal, just so we can really exhaust all the possibility to trace the microchip, or get someone out to the household to knock on doors and maybe put a posting out there to alert the owner that their animal is here. Unfortunately, I think a lot of times people don't realize that their animal could end up at the animal shelter. I think unfortunately there's this old stigma of only bad animals or bad people end up at the animal shelter, and that is not the case at all.
No.
Again, we provide a service to our community, and when these animals need us or when our citizens need us, we're here for them.
That's right. And I think that's a great segue into a myth that I want to get rid of, and that is that, and it's out there in the community, we've heard a lot of people push it forward, and maybe 20 years ago there was some truth to it. No more. Just because an animal comes to the animal shelter does not mean that in 24 hours y'all are going to put it down.
Absolutely not. That is not the case. And I know, traditionally that's what a lot of people think.
Right.
And maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago that may have been the case. But this community, our county government for Buncombe County, I mean, the amount of attention that the community at large has really put into animal services, department, animal sheltering has just been amazing, and just the wonderful work we've done here. And that is not the case. We exhaust every opportunity for an animal. Certainly there are, unfortunately, animals that do have to be humanely euthanized for severe medical or severe aggression issues, but we are not euthanizing animals just for lack of space space or for time that we can give them. That is not the case.
At all. And I would say if you at home feel like that could be the case, I would say you would invite them out here with open arms to see what you're doing, and that is not the case. Because just in a few minutes, we're going to go visit the adoption facility next door, which is where all these animals want to make it to eventually, if they can, to be adopted. And we're going to check that out, but stay tuned. Okay, we've moved from Buncombe County Animal Shelter to the adoption facility, the amazing, it's like a store. I mean, it's beautiful in there. And that's where the animals that are over there long to come over here so they can get adopted. And tell us about the walk between the two. I just love that. I just love what that is. That's so cool.
So we have a walk of life that goes from the Buncombe County Animal Shelter over to the Asheville Humane Society Adoption Center.
Right.
And it was proudly named the Walk of Life because that is the whole purpose. The animals come over to the adoption center from the shelter to find new loving homes.
Yeah, and I would say a big percentage are either surrendered, or not surrendered, but returned, reunited with their owners, or make the walk of life to come over here. Would you say that's a big percentage of what happens to all the animals?
Yeah, our biggest life-saving programs, of course, is our adoption program, which saves over 3,000 animals last year.
Yeah.
And then the Return to Owner program, reuniting lost pets with their worried families, accounts for about 1,000 animals as well. So, I mean, that's 4,000 animals right there.
That's amazing. They come, make the circle. In through the shelter, out through the adoption facility. Yes. That's just amazing. So once an animal comes into the shelter and then is, for whatever reason, is checked out, good to go, makes the walk of life, comes over here, then what happens?
So we have a very large volunteer base. We have over 890 volunteers currently that are actually active. It's not just individuals with their name on a piece of paper and never show up. And we're talking 895 to be exact volunteers, individual volunteers we had helping us last year, both here at the adoption center, also at the shelter as well, and through events and through foster care, providing foster families also. But our volunteers are a huge benefit to what we can do here in the adoption center. So they provide a lot of behavior enrichment for the animals that are in our care. They work one-on-one with adopters that are interested in adopting. And so the animals come over and they receive very similar care to the animals at the Buncombe County Animal Shelter. I mean, we pride ourselves on the quality of care that we give to the animals in both facilities. Right. And so, a typical day, an animal is taken out. We have these wonderful play yards, and they're taken out to, use the bathroom, get a little exercise, little one-on-one time with volunteers and staff, while other staff member and volunteers are cleaning their enclosures. And then they return, and that's of course after, then they return for their meal. They have their morning meal, and then throughout the day, they're getting more enrichment through the citizens coming in, looking to potentially adopt. We have these great little devices that can give them little treats when people walk by, just really helping engage their minds, both the cats and dogs, while they're in our facility. And then, obviously, if we have potential adopters, the animals come out and they get to visit with them. We have both indoor and outdoor visitation areas. If people have current pets at home, current dogs at home, we highly encourage them to bring their animals in and visit as well.
So it's not just I walk in here and say, yeah, I'll take that one. No, you can come out here and check the dog out, the cat out, see if it's going to fit with your lifestyle.
Absolutely. We want people to come in and really visit and engage with animals. Now, sometimes some people will come in and they click instantly. I've heard people say, I just looked into his eyes and I knew that was the one. Obviously, we still want you to have some one-on-one time and make sure, but sometimes it's just that quick. Then there's other people that may come back 3, 4, 5 times over a period of weeks, actually, until they find the right one that they feel is going to be the best for them. Absolutely. We have no problem with letting people visit numerous times with numerous animals. We want it to be a great match for them, and we want to set them up for success.
And you probably don't have too many volunteers. If somebody at home sees this and says, I'd like to do that.
Right, and I know by saying 895 volunteers, it seems like, oh, they don't need our help at all. Believe me, we still need more volunteers and more assistance. You know,
And
most of our
foster
volunteers
families.
and foster families, absolutely. You know, last year we put over 1,700 animals through our foster care program. We still have needs to expand that foster program as well because we still have animals that are in need of care, whether they're neonate kittens and puppies that need help, or they're cats or dogs that have gotten just a cold while they were out lost, or, you know, for whatever reason, maybe behavior enrichment. If there's folks out there that see this and they are great at working with really high energy dogs, you know, some of the dogs that just really need to be taken on a 10-mile hike every day.
That's right, yeah.
Those are the foster homes we're really in need of right now.
That's cool. So there's a place for you. Come adopt, come volunteer, foster, just come out and check it out. I mean, it's amazing because I think we really need to kill that rumor that people should not be afraid of the shelter. Because these people love animals. These are animal people. And if you know animal people, the last thing they want to do is have to put an animal down.
Right.
That's just not going to happen. So only when you absolutely have to, and that's a good thing. If there's an animal that just
suffering,
it has to go, or it's got issues that cannot be resolved, then that's a good solution.
Yes, it's a humane solution
It's a
for
humane
some
solution.
animals. We just
That's
may
right.
not have another opportunity for that animal.
That's right. So as we end up here, what are some of the common questions that people get when they come to the shelter?
Well, the one that we were just talking about, the most common, I will say, is people, when they're turning in an animal, whether it's a stray or their own, they have that misconception, and one of the first things out of their mouth is, "You're not going to kill it, are you?" And that's really trying a lot for the staff, you know, to hear that day in and day out. But we understand that people, they just don't know better. They haven't learned. It's a fear, absolutely. There's a lot of guilt, especially if you're turning in an animal that you have cared for and it's been your animal for a few years and just something has happened in life, you can no longer care for them. People have a lot of emotions when that's happening. So we are non-judgmental. We do ask a lot of questions because the more information we know about the situation the animal came from and the animal themselves, the better equipped we are to save that animal's life through our adoption program or one of the other programs that we have. So that is probably the most common, unfortunately. So we really need to help people understand that's not the case. I mean, at one time, if you know, back in, I want to say it was 2008, it was only 34% of the animals were leaving the shelter alive, and now it is completely flip-flopped. I mean, we are close to saving you know, all the animals possible unless they are severely aggressive or severely ill, and we just, you know, they're suffering if we keep them going, so to speak.
That has totally been what I've seen here. It's amazing. I can't think anywhere my animals could be better taken care of. Are there any other common questions that you think people at home might need to know about the shelter?
A lot of people, ask questions like you have, you know, what happens? What do you do? Are you assessing, you know, what's happening to the animal? And so we will talk with them about how when the animal comes in, we do give them an initial medical exam just to make sure that there's no ailments, illnesses that they need to be addressed for the animal. And if there is, we provide that medical treatment to the animal.
And I think another thing that I want folks at home to know is they can ask these questions.
Absolutely.
Ask anything. You know, come out here and check it out before you come and adopt, or before you ever, just check the place out. It's amazing. And y'all offer that to people. They can just come ask questions.
Yes, they can. We would rather people ask questions than think something that's not accurate.
Absolutely. So as we end, I just want the folks at home to know the 3 top things they can do to prevent losing their animal, because that's just heartbreaking to have a lost pet.
Yeah, especially when over 60% of the animals entering the Buncombe County Animal Shelter are lost pets. 60%, you know, that are just animals that their families are worried about them and they haven't found their way back home yet. So the best thing for people, first and foremost, to do is get a personalized identification tag on your animal. If you kind of think about it, is your ID tag for your animal is your seatbelt of your car, and then the next thing would be your microchip. Get that animal's microchip. That's your airbag. You get into an accident, the seatbelt, you know, helps you, but then you have the airbag. You know, that if that collar falls off, that tag falls off, animal comes to the shelter, we can search who the owner is through a microchip.
Right. And that does not hurt the animal to be microchipped.
No, it's very similar to getting a vaccination. So, none of us like to get vaccine. None of us likes to get shots at all. So there's a little bit, discomfort, we'll say, but it's the same way. It goes through a needle under the skin, just like vaccines do, your annual vaccinations that you get your pets.
Now, where can people get this?
So, at the Buncombe County Animal Shelter, one of the services we do provide is microchipping at a reduced cost for citizens. So we are able to do that through our veterinarian. And they don't have to make an appointment. We do ask that if they can show up maybe about no more than 30 minutes closer to closing, only because of the amount of time it takes. But if somebody shows up, we'll help them. It doesn't matter.
So they can just come to the shelter and have that done. You've got to do it. We'll put the information on the screen for you so you can do that. Amazing. Anything else you want the folks at home to know about the shelter or about this amazing adoption facility?
Just that our community has done such a fantastic job addressing animals, especially over the last 10 years or so. These facilities being opened 4 years ago was a true life-saving to this community. And then just all the collaboration we do in this community with other animal welfare organizations, but also with Buncombe County. And I just want to say thank you to Buncombe County, because without your support, and I don't know if people know this, but Buncombe County really provides great guidance as well as just funds to help operate the shelter and just to really provide quality care for the citizens and the animals here in this community.
Citizens should be proud of what they do, and you should come see it. If you haven't seen it, come out and check it out. Stay tuned. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. It was full of information. And I know if you've seen even 5 minutes of it, you know that this is not your mama's animal shelter. This place is amazing. And our goal of this episode was to kill the rumor that the shelter is a scary place to bring an animal, that you're going to bring it here and they're going to put it down. That is not true. These people love animals. It's an amazing facility and something you as a Buncombe County citizen should be so proud of. So I urge you to learn more about it. Go to their website, come out and give them a visit, and be proud that you're a Buncombe County citizen. Stay tuned next month for Buncombe Live.